Alright everyone, welcome back for another episode of Solana TA. If you're new to the channel, warm welcome to the channel. Let's jump right into what's going on today. So, yesterday we were sitting round about, I believe, yeah, we were down here. We were sitting at $39. We were calling for a move up between $43 to $44. The title of the video was Pump Before the Dump, because we were believing that we were going to pump up in the short term to some of these resistances, for example, the 13 EMA at roughly $43, and also the descending level of resistance that we've currently got in play at $44, and we basically did just that. We actually overshot slightly. We went up into the high 44s, didn't quite make it to 45, but all in all, lower time frames are kind of starting to look a little bit nicer than previously on Solana. However, we're definitely not out the blue. I don't want anyone to get exceptionally bullish on what's going on right now, because you can see since the 15th of May, let's extrapolate this. So for the past 20, 21, 22 days, so basically the past 3 weeks or so, we've been rocking into this resistance, and you can see we pump up to it, we have a breakdown. We pump up to it, we have a breakdown, pump up to it, breakdown, pump, breakdown, pump, breakdown, and we've already come into this resistance again, and we're starting to see a plethora of selling volume coming in, at least on FTX. You can see we've got 26.5 million Solana sold in the past 4 hours. If we hop over to the 1 hourly candles, I'm not going to read these all out, but they're pretty evenly distributed. At this moment in time, you can really see that we are about to make a major decision. The, sorry, not the oscillator, our momentum indicator, which is the squeeze mom on the hourly time frame, is already starting to tick back over in favor of the bears. We've done this multiple times, and in fact, I call these structures over on the squeeze mom bunny hills. If we look at what's going on, in fact, it's probably better to find on the 4 hourly time frame. What you'll notice is this doesn't really happen on the daily or the weekly, but this happens a lot on the 1 hourly and the 4 hourly time frame. You can see we have these little bunny hills over on the squeeze mom, which is indicative that, you know, bulls are taking over in the short term, because as I'm sure you all know, markets move in cycles. They move from bearish waves to bullish waves, bearish wave, bullish, bearish, bullish, and it just keeps on going around in these cycles along the time when it's trading. So you can see at this moment in time, we've got another bunny hill coming up into the resistance and the EMA ribbons. We did this here, we had a bunny hill, we broke down. We did this here, we had a bunny hill and we broke down. And we did this here, had a bunny hill, and we broke down. So far, Solana has come up to this trend line a multitude of times. I think it was like 5 times, 4 hourly time frame. No, 1, 2, 3. This is the 5th time we've come up and got rejected. So as the saying goes, the more and more you do test support or resistance, the more likely you are to break it. However, at this moment in time, I really don't want to get like exceptionally bullish until we start taking out the high up here, because this is our new area of resistance. Call it $44.89. Let's just round it up to $45. What I'd really want to see to kind of change my tune on Solana, because like I said the other day, I literally titled my video Solana Pump Before the Dump, and we've had this big pump, and I am expecting for us to dump, but specifically we don't necessarily have to dump until the 15th. I'm not going to go into it too much in depth, because if you already watch my channel, you know I've been talking about the FOMC meeting coming on the 15th, and I believe they're going to increase the interest rates by 50 basis points. That is going to allow the market to capitulate one last time before I think we're going to have a macro bear market bottom. And very interestingly as well, Solana BTC is actually up 6% today. We're going to check that out in just one moment. And I would also like to talk about the oscillators, because, you know, once again, whether it's the squeeze one, whether we're looking at momentum indicators or oscillators, the oscillator's done pretty much the same thing. You know, you can call this a bunny hill if you want, you can call it whatever you want. But once again, you can see the oscillator comes up, tops out around 80 to 90, or rather 80 to 70. I forget, because this is slightly different to the RSI. In fact, the top is up at 80 and the bottom is down at 20, whereas I believe the RSI is 30 to 70. Nonetheless, you can see basically every time we come up to the top of the 4 hourly oscillator, which is the money flow indicator that we're using, we literally get topped out and we start to move down. And it seems like we're starting to move down already. You can see 1 hourly time frame is pushing down very hard. If we come over to Sol BTC, I'm going to line this chart up in a minute, because we have just come back And technically, you know, obviously we don't have a daily close. This is only 1 day worth of data traded, but we have came up to the 786. And if we do close below this region, then unfortunately we are going to have confirmed the 786 to be resistance. This was previous support, flip resistance. This is such a macro level. It's not going to be good for Solana if we do not hold this level. So, like I said, I believe that a lot of the altcoins, maybe Solana can move up coming into the next week, and we'll talk about some price targets in a second. But at this moment in time, we do not have a confirmed breakout of $45, and we're literally at this moment in time, we're currently sitting on the 13 EMA. So Solana is about to make a very, very big decision. There has been no decision made at this period in time. Between the ranges of $42.80, that is where the top of our support comes in, and then you can also see the bottom of the EMA ribbons. Let's basically call it $40. Let's round it down a bit, give Solana a little bit of leg room, but I really don't want to see Solana move back below $40. And bear in mind when I say I don't want it to move below $40, I barely hold any Solana at this moment in time. I sold most of my Solana at $70 because I believed that we were going to have a mass capitulation, and that's exactly what we've done. You know, we're pretty much half price. The other day we were half price, but we've moved up a slight bit. So we really, really need to flip $42.80 as support. If we are going to come down, $40 really needs to hold. Why does $40 need to hold? You can see it basically every other time that we have come up and got rejected from this trend line as well. It's normally indicative that you are about to break down lower once you bounce back up and get rejected from the EMA ribbon. So if we do move below $40, we come back up to $40 and break down, then we're probably coming all the way back down to $37, and then we're probably going to break down. Why do I think Solana and a lot of the altcoins are going to break down? Well, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance is once again on a rampage, and I've been warning everyone about, you know, trading altcoins while the Bitcoin dominance is running up. So be very, very cautious if you're trading altcoins. The Bitcoin dominance is exceptionally bullish right now. The more and more this goes up, the more and more altcoins are going to underperform Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if Bitcoin's price is going up or down. The Bitcoin dominance can go up either way, and if it does go up, whether Bitcoin's going up or down, altcoins are going up or down, Bitcoin is going to outperform altcoins. But what are we seeing in Sol BTC? Because today, at least in a 1 daily time frame, Solana has outperformed Bitcoin by 6%. Now, do I think that we should start planning for $1,000 Solana? Do I think Solana summer is going to be coming this year? Absolutely not. This is a 6% pump. We've done this many, many times. In fact, the last time we bounced on the 618, we actually managed to have a 52% pump. So I wouldn't necessarily count Solana out at this moment in time, but I also really wouldn't be bullish until we start flipping $45. And if we do flip $45, let's see where we can potentially come up to. If I go over to the daily time frame, from the most recent top, do I want to draw this from here? Yeah, let's draw this from here. The 618 Fibonacci. Wow, the 618 fib from this high to this low actually perfectly lines up with the 786 fib on the macro chart. So, like I said, I wouldn't be, you know, crazily surprised if Solana was able to have a move back up to $70. Although, like I said, I'm really not counting on it. Be very, very cautious if you are trading these altcoins right now. Bear in mind, if we do move up to $70 and then we come back down to like 64 and we drop below it, then we would have basically just had a confirmed fake out of the EMA ribbons. I don't actually think that we would be going as high as that. So let's see if we've got any other price targets here. If we come over to the 4 hourly time frame, let's talk about from the top of this trend. So I can't draw it down to this wick, bear in mind, because I'm drawing it from here, so I can't draw it from here and then drag it backwards. So I'd be drawing from this impulse down to this low. And your 618 is actually lining up at $50. What is this green trend line? This green trend line, I believe, is the candle body close of the previous all-time high, which is lining up with the 0.5 Fibonacci. So we could go anywhere between the ranges, in my opinion, between $50 and $47. I'd be very, very hard pressed to believe that Solana would manage to get above this resistance box. So let's mark this as resistance. If you were trading Solana above $45, you know, potentially you could ride this all the way up to $50 on a 10x leverage. That would be almost a 1.2x return, which would be very, very nice. Make sure you're using a tight stop loss if we do break out at $45. Like I said, while the Bitcoin dominance is going up, I'm going to be very, very picky on which altcoin trades I want to take. And at this moment in time, I'm not really too interested in leverage trading these altcoins. In fact, after the FOMC meeting on the 15th, coming into the 16th, when I believe is when we're going to be capitulating, I'll actually be looking at some shorts on these altcoins, specifically Solana, because I do think this could have lower to go down to potentially $26 or $20. Let's look at some of the higher time frames and see what's going on. Momentum indicators are pretty flat. Bears are in control of the market still. Lower time frames, like I said, we can just consider this a bunny hill until we do have a daily close. If we do have that daily close below $45, it's really not going to be looking good, and we're probably going to move at least down to $40, which is nothing crazy, about a 5% move, but, you know, bear in mind, once you move below 40, you're going to move down to 36. If you come down to 36, we would have to have a triple bottom. Otherwise, we're going to massively shit the bed, and we're going to landslide all the way down to $26 and $20. So at this moment in time, I'm not interested in trading Solana. Macro time frame, we've been very, very bearish since $72. And yeah, you can see, I think this is on the weekly time frame, how I get these price targets. Weekly candle body closes over at $47. So this is, like I said, this is going to be one of the areas that we do need to get above. This is why I think getting above this red box is going to be very, very challenging for Solana. But let's see if we can do it above $45. I will be short-term bullish. Like I said, Sol BTC pair has bounced up to the 786 fib. So we really need to start gearing up. By the end of the day, if you don't see Solana up about, 16-17%, then unfortunately we're probably going to have a bearish confirmation that this macro 786 was your rejection, and then at that point in time, you're very, very likely to start landsliding. For example, you zoom out, you can see Solana BTC has broken extremely bearish, unfortunately, and it does seem like we're going down to these lower price targets. So against Bitcoin, I gave you my USD price targets, but what I think is much more important is, what the price target is going to be against Bitcoin, because I think everyone who is in crypto for the long term should have the goal of increasing your Satoshi stash. And, if you don't know what Satoshis are, one Satoshi is simply the lowest unit of account that Bitcoin has. So one Bitcoin constitutes 100 million Satoshis, and you should always be looking to stack Bitcoin, in my opinion. So I use Solana and other altcoins in order to accumulate more Bitcoin. I don't really care about accumulating more altcoins. I care about accumulating more Bitcoin. So when we start seeing these altcoins start to capitulate against Bitcoin, then it's really not a good idea to hold them. They're probably going to go down a lot faster than Bitcoin. And like we're seeing, even on these bounces that we're having in the altcoin market, as a general rule of thumb, Bitcoin is outperforming pretty much all of them. And that's why we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance go up. So be very, very cautious. I think in the short term, specifically in the next 9 days coming into the FOMC meeting, or after the FOMC meeting, should I say, so within the next 2 weeks, I unfortunately think we're going to be dropping about another 20% against Bitcoin. Does that mean that we can't break above 45 and go up to potentially 50 in the short term? No, it doesn't. We can definitely pump up to 50, but once again, bear in mind this would still be a lower high, and if we do simply come up to 50, we do have to recognize that if we get rejected, then we would have just had a textbook breakdown, bounce up to the 618 fib, and then a rejection, which is not a good sign. That's basically a textbook confirmation that you've got a bearish trend. On the 4 hourly time frame as well, I think I said this, but 28 million Solana has been sold on FTX. We're having a pretty harsh move down. Hourly candles as well, I already said the momentum indicator is starting to tick to the downside. So we really need to start turning around. I do not want to see Solana drop below $42, but if we do, $40 absolutely needs to hold. If we start sliding beneath there, I think we're going to go to lower price targets a lot quicker than people think. Now, one other thing about Solana is Solana's getting very, very close to being flipped by Dogecoin. If we come over to Solana, Solana's currently at number 9, sitting at around 14.5 billion. And, rounding up Dogecoin, just like I rounded down Solana slightly, Dogecoin is literally sitting at around 11 billion. So there's not much between them. There's really, really not much between them. I do definitely think Solana needs to be careful, otherwise it could be taken over by the dog. And at this moment in time, you can really see we're fighting with the 13 EMA. This is the most important level. So $42, $40, you really want to see Solana hold that. Like I said, Solana BTC looks very, very bearish right now. I'm 100% sitting on the sidelines because I do think that we are going to go lower on this. Looking at Bitcoin as well, Bitcoin's still looking very, very healthy. And this is why we're seeing, you know, the 4-hourly time frame on Sol BTC. We've had a pretty harsh rejection from this 786 as well. So, you know, like I said, I don't want to get too bearish until we do have the confirmation of us slipping below $40. But this was what I was predicting, the pump before the dump. Let's see how high it can go. At this moment in time, I'm not looking to long it. The oscillators look pretty oversold in the lower time frames. Let's hope we can get above 45, because otherwise seems like we'll be coming down pretty fast. That's pretty much all I've got for Solana. Once again, be very, very cautious trading the altcoins while the Bitcoin dominance is going to the moon. So all I've got for you today, as always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.